For decades, nightclub bouncers were the muscle men in black who let their fists do all the talking.
I broke more jaws than fucking Valentino broke hearts.
But times have changed.
If someone was to come to me and say, do you supply bouncers? I would say, no. We supply security staff, not bouncers. How lovely, aren't they?
Bouncer or security staff, as we see tonight on the front line of Booze Britain, some things stay the same.
Bloody hell! You could have a 5-stone wet-through bloke who wouldn't say boo to a goose when he's stone cold sober. All of a sudden he gets 5 pints of Stella down and he can take on the world.
All these fat bald motherfuckers are scared.
Suspicious and wary, Britain's bouncers normally run from the spotlight. But in this series, they open their doors to us. Tonight, there's chaos at one club when violence erupts.
Nobody can see him, got under my bollocks.
And the bouncers are kept busy showing customers the door.
Come on, we're on to the floor.
That's tonight on Bouncers. A down-to-earth town in West Yorkshire, once famous as the home of the Batley Variety Club. These days, the building with the bright lights at the edge of town is a nightclub, the Frontier. It's 8 p.m. and the workday begins for a Batley legend. He's Andrew Lawton, nicknamed Bungie. He's head doorman at the Frontier. Bungie's 39 and he's been on the doors for 20 years. Tonight it's an A-level results party, which means it's going to be a busy one for Bungie, with lots of sloshed students to deal with.
You got the results this morning, they'll have been out all day.
I got 2 A's and 2 B's.
4 A's, this guy, 4 A's.
They've been out all day, and they're wasted by the time they get to us.
Start at 1 o'clock today, Frontier ending it off, yeah.
We've been on the lash all night, so we're just going to get drunk tonight.
Fingers crossed they're going to be well behaved. I don't want to be bloodbath, I tell you, just don't want it at all.
I'm sorry. You're all right. It's all good. All right.
Bungie's got his eyes peeled tonight for underage drinkers trying to slip past him.
Hey girls, young lady in the white, have you got some ID please? Sorry, no ID, no info.
Hurry up! Hurry up!
The night's barely started and already there's aggro heading their way.
You never know, it might get a bit closer so we can actually understand what he's saying. Just step back, mate, that's all I want you to do.
All these fat bald motherfuckers are scared.
Step off the premises, mate.
Fuck you, man. Maybe you get cancer. Die. Maybe your mum gets cancer. Die.
It's a taste of things to come in Batley. There seems to be something in the air tonight.
If he gets home without getting leathered, I'll show my ass to the Pope.
Yeah, definitely.
Somebody is going to give him a right dig up here.
Another night, another dollar.
Meanwhile, over on Merseyside, Steve's the boss of a security company supplying bouncers to pubs and clubs around the northwest. He's Steve Gibbo Gibbons. He's a security director. Gibbo's 47 and he's been on the doors for 30 years. With his mate Dave, Gibbo's checking his staff are ready for all the A-level students who'll be out on the town tonight.
Everything all right, so just checking on the IDs. No hassle now. It's going to be busy tonight, isn't it? It's only like a one-off tonight with it being students. Any other Thursday night, it'd be normally like half the amount of people what's out tonight. See you in a bit, okay. See you later. Everything all right, Tonya?
Working on the doors has been Gibbo's life.
Club life is my life, you know what I mean? You know, I wake up at like 10 o'clock at night. That's my start mode.
See you later, John. See you later.
It's just in me. It's all I know. And to be honest with you, it's all I'd like to have known.
Trouble doesn't stand still in a town like Warrington, and tonight's no different. There are more doors than doormen. One of their nightclubs needs a bit of help tonight, so Gibbo and Dave are on their way there to lend it some of their muscle.
We're a necessary evil, but at the end of the day, you're there to keep the nice people safe
Yeah.
And just keep the bad people out of the venues. It's not a bad job. It's not bad.
It's our business, isn't it? So that's why we've got to make it right.
It beats stacking shelves, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Gibbo and Dave are heading to Mr Smith's in Warrington in case it all kicks off later. But there's nothing more rowdy yet than the oldest swinger in town, partying pensioner Stan the Man. Mr Smith's head doorman Keith is noticing a worrying change amongst nightclub punters.
You're not coming in, because she's not coming in, are you?
No, I'm telling you now, right?
When I first started, you used to get your cheeky punters. I think the attitude of punters has changed over the years. I think they're more aggressive now.
In Batley, the pubs have only just kicked out, but the Frontier crowd is already packed in.
On the clicker now, we've got sort of 450, 500 coming on a regular Thursday. That's how what we're usually getting all night, so we're doing really well.
There's been a big change in the world of bouncers. Since the start of 2005, all door staff have had to be trained and licensed by the Security Industries Authority. Anyone with a recent serious criminal record won't get a badge to work. It's meant a shortage of bouncers for security bosses like Gibbo.
It's not like years ago where there was an abundance of doormen where, say for example, at 8 o'clock someone phoned up and they can't make it. I could guarantee 10 years ago I could ring someone within 10 minutes and get them in. Whereas nowadays you can't do that. If you haven't got a badge, you can't work.
Even those who've got badges can still give Gibbo and Dave a headache when they call in sick.
The problem is, come 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon, everything's swinging. All of a sudden you get a text, they never phone you, and you can never phone them back. Can't make it because he's got an abscess on his groin. You know, I mean, and the other one about the rabbit dying.
Yeah.
I said, how fucking long does it take to fucking bury a £5 bastard rabbit? You know, the kids are upset. This is like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Fucking there's only a rabbit.
At the Frontier in Batley, the party's warming up and bouncers like Ian are on red alert for trouble. This is Ian Campbell. He's the door supervisor at the Frontier. He's 37 and he's been on the doors for 15 years.
If someone's walking up to the door and he's blatantly pissed, he's going to be barging into people. Before you know it, you've got 6 or 7 people knocking 7 bells of shit out of somebody.
As the only club in town, the Frontier gives the bouncers a particular problem.
The Frontier, it's the last stop at the OK Corral, really. If they don't get into the Frontier, it's either a taxi home or a £25 taxi fare into Leeds. So getting knocked back at the Frontier sometimes does have an adverse effect on people.
Want some of this? These knockers are going to get twatted.
You're in a taxi, mate, get home.
When you work in a big city, when you turn guys back, there's another bar 20 yards down the road. Trouble with the Frontier, that's it. The buck stops there.
The Frontier's strict no bottles outside rule doesn't meet with the approval of one young lady.
Here, let me drink. Yeah. Fucking fat, fucking motherfucker. Here, I would have at least drank to you, fat.
That must be me then she's talking to, because these 2 lads are only slightly fat.
I didn't realise that. I was just thinking.
The A-level results party surprises everyone by turning nasty. It even reminds Ian of being in combat in his army days.
We all thought it was just going to be a load of 18, 19-year-olds coming in, getting pissed, going home, and jobs are good. Didn't work out like that, though. For some reason or another, it just went into World War III. It was like being back in Beirut again.
The Frontier turns into a battlefield as troublemakers are bounced out of the club, and the police are kept busy with multiple arrests.
The people that were arrested, they were the local idiots. I don't think we had any actual bother with students. It's just the local dickheads that get the L down them and then just carry on.
At Mr Smith's in Warrington, things are a lot quieter, as Gibbo and Dave arrive to take up their positions on the door. But Gibbo is always on the lookout for trouble.
I say to some people, like, you're all right, because they'll obviously walk and they'll have the head down. And I like to, like, make a bit of eye contact. You all right? Okay? No, like, I'm making a judgment to see, like, have they had too much to drink? Are you all right? Are you all right? Are they old enough? Are you all right? Are they trying to have a quick look in the eyes? You okay? You okay? See if they're being on any illegal substances? You okay? You all right? You all right? You okay?
As ever, Gibbo's gentle touch works a charm.
You all right, Arlo? Not tonight. You've had a bit too much to drink tonight, okay? You know, you're falling everywhere, your demeanour's all wrong, you know.
Okay, I'm falling everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm standing on my own 2 feet.
Can't understand you, go on, what? Not tonight, Arlo, okay.
Yeah, you're
How lovely, aren't I? It's nice to be nice, isn't it, you know what I mean?
At the Frontier, most people are having a good time, but one guy is caught dancing on the stage. That's a big no-no. So the party's over for him as he's bundled outside.
Sorry, I didn't realise you couldn't go on stage.
You've been told now 3 or 4 times.
I've not been told on that fucking stage.
You've been told 3 or 4 times tonight.
Oh, seriously now, I have not been told.
It's not up for discussion, mate.
Well, it should be.
It's not up for discussion, it's not up for argument either.
The self-confidence seems to shoot through the roof. You could have a 5-stone wet-through bloke who wouldn't say boo to a goose when he's stone-cold sober. All of a sudden he gets 5 pints of Stella down and he can take on the world.
No, it's not all right. It's a bloody monopoly. It's not all right.
It's not a monopoly, mate.
How are you to make a decision, though?
I work here.
Yeah.
My discretion, who stays in this venue and who leaves.
Well, that's a monopoly then, isn't it? That's not right, is it?
Inside, some are knocking back the alcohol like it's going out of fashion. Many bouncers on the front line think that binge drinking in Britain has got worse.
It has gone worse nowadays, probably for the simple reason because of all the offers they do at bars. You know yourself, you can go into a bar and get 2 for 1, which I think is like, it's a nightmare to the pub and club industry.
Gibbo and Keith won't let anyone in who they think is over the limit.
Yeah, not tonight. Do you want to move away from the door? Thank you.
It's been drinking water all night.
What? The water must be laced with vodka. Never mind getting in a club, you wouldn't get in a riot.
And about 5 saplings, though.
Drinking water and chocolates all night.
That's one customer not getting in tonight.
They're all God's children.
Bouncers may have cleaned up their image these days, but violent injuries have always been an occupational hazard.
I've had injuries, plenty of injuries throughout the past. I've had your fractured skulls.
I've had my eye knocked out, glass slivers in my eyes.
I've been stabbed in the arm.
Stitches in the head, nearly lost a testicle.
Broken every finger in one hand.
I've been attacked with various
inanimate objects.
Anybody can come by, shoot you.
I've had guns pulled on me a couple of times.
Stab you, walk past you, throw acid in your face.
Been switchbladed, been Stanley bladed.
I've been hit on the head with a bottle.
And I've also had things stuck in me like kebab sticks.
Back at the A-level party in Batley, it's getting hot and sweaty, and there's trouble brewing. Coming up, an incident at the Frontier front door pushes Bungie to the limit.
You don't ever have bother like this.
Ever. Nobody can see you've got all of your bollocks.
It's A-level results night, and inside the Frontier Club in Batley, the party is in full flow. Outside, the bouncers are ready in case it all kicks off. But if there's one thing most doormen hate these days, it's actually being called bouncers.
I don't like the word bouncer.
Everybody used to have a stereotypical picture in the head of a doorman who's a meathead, good for nothing else, got tattoos all over the place, and he's thick as pig shit. That ain't the case now. We've got guys who've got degrees, for God's sake.
Have a colour, man. There's always tomorrow, isn't there?
I class myself as an ejection technician or a crowd control engineer.
If someone was to come to me and say, do you supply bouncers? I would say, no. We supply security staff, not bouncers.
Door staff these days prefer to talk their way out of trouble. But in the past, many bouncers were violent bruisers and proud of it.
Years ago, almost every doorman on every pub club had a baseball bat. That's unheard of now. You don't have that. And knuckle dusters, you don't have that now.
The doorman of the day, most of them are mummy's boys and college kids and stuff like that who can't fight and who are not fighting men.
At the frontier, modern-day doorman G recognises the violent dangers he and his workmates face on a night like tonight's.
Worst thing about the job, knowing that I could be smashed over the head by a glass or a bottle and die, really. Whereas 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, people were willing to have a dust-up and leave it at that. Now it's some little chav with no morals, pick up a bottle, 30 seconds later, I'm dead.
Every time you put this tie on, you've got a chance of visiting a police station, visiting the accident emergency, or visiting the morgue.
As the temperature rises at the frontier, Ian admits he actually likes it hot.
I do like the odd adrenaline rush every now and again. It keeps you going, it keeps you on your toes.
I'm not being funny, mate. I'm being straight with you. Move, now.
There's plenty to keep them on their toes as more people are shown the door.
Get off me, I'm not blow. Yeah, no need for that, no need for that. No need for that, water. But there's no need for you fucking tell me that we're fucking mother with a slag.
I'm fucking going in with it.
The A-level night has been a nightmare so far for Bungay, and it's not over yet.
Rather large incident earlier on. A lot of lads scuffling, fighting, lads arrested across the road. That's why we've got police presence, and we'll just get them on. And here we've got some coming out now. Come on, you can swatch out, fella. Come on, fella, bloody hell! Fuck's sake!
They can't hear you, Steph.
Doesn't matter.
They can't hear you. I know, I'm trying to
Smack your understand, smack your mouth.
I think the bouncers were well out of order. They knew he were deaf, and they all just ran at him.
He can't hear you, he's deaf.
OK, he's deaf, but does that still give him the right to carry on?
Bungay prides himself on being able to restrain difficult customers, and he's going to have to put his training into effect tonight.
As he come through, it was just like a wave. People being knocked out of the way. And he headbutted the glass door. And he grabbed me bollocks and started squeezing and turning me bollocks.
Get off me! Get off me! Get off me!
So I've had to stop him. People will not go unconscious. They will let go before they get to that point, which he did. He was still like, oh, and it was like, fucking hell, I don't like this. And he let go of his hand to grab my hand away from his throat. And then I let go of him. Took 2 of us to restrain him. Lynn's like 17 stone, I'm 23 stone. That kid were chucking 40 stone up and down and without us being able to control him properly.
Calm down! Let him go and bang it if he fucking carries on. Right. Calm down. Look at me. Look at me. Let go of it. Down. Calm down. Let go of it. Calm down. Look at me.
Being able to handle yourself physically is probably the hardest part of the job. We're trained to do it, and it's just, you know, last resort.
Eventually, the police come and take over. The old school bouncers would have thought nothing of using extreme violence.
If I found myself in any situation where somebody's grabbed hold of my balls, as happened now, I would think twice about biting their face off.
I treat violence with violence. I will 10-pin bowl people out the club. And when I say 10-pin bowl, I mean use the fingers in the eyes to disorientate them. And I've never ever been one to shy away from that.
If they know you're going to use physical force, and they know you can use it, they'll think twice. I just knock them out. I broke more jaws than fucking Valentino broke hearts.
Back at Mr. Smith's in Warrington, it's chucking out time, and Gibbo's pleased it's been a quiet night for him.
Everything's been quiet, and that's it. Same way we got home. Clean shirt, done. Everything's done.
Folks, stand over the outside, please. Come on, fellas, drink off, please.
In Batley, after their worst night in years, the bouncers are relieved the party's finally over.
What fucking riddance.
Been a real pain last hour. We don't ever have bother like this, ever. I need a beer. After a night like tonight, I could just sit down and have a beer, but I don't think bar will open up tonight, so I'll have to go home and have a glass of pop out of the fridge.
Next time on Bouncers, it's handbags at 10 paces when good women turn bad.
They're getting in there because they're all fucking scrubbers in there. They're all scrubbers!
It's all drugs raids for the force in Northallerton, and there's absolutely no love lost between two so-called best mates who Scarborough police have to separate after a bit of fisticuffs. Another quiet time for the Crime Fighters UK coming up next.